My presentation is similar to several of the presentations at this workshop, which is about the increasing polarization in Europe between the European core countries and European periphery. And within this European periphery, I include Southern Europe and Central Eastern Europe, because these two regions are becoming more and more similar. Before, Eastern Europe was kind of distinctively different, but with institutional changes, with the growth which took place before 2008, they have kind of were catching up. But 2008 has shown the vulnerabilities of growth in that region and how the growth was very fragile, and the need to change the model of growth. And this is exactly the problem that Southern Europe is also facing. Of course, there are still kind of differences, but in many respects my idea and hypothesis is that there are many more similarities. They are both kind of regions which operate, let's say, behind the technology frontier, which means that they are growing largely based on the importation of foreign technology, on imitation and adoption. And my argument is that the policies which are applied in these countries are really not conducive to their long-term growth. It is not only related to the macroeconomic policy, to the dominance of austerity, but it's also related to the nature of innovation policy. My argument is that the innovation policy is too much focused on R&D and pushed by the R&D, while the drivers of growth and productivity in this part of the Europe is more driven by the something which I call production capability, which means that this is non-R&D type of activities related to quality control, to management practices, to engineering, to design, rather than to some kind of high-tech. But the whole policy setup is such that it's pushing on the R&D, which I'm not arguing that this is not necessary, but I'm pointing that this is just a part of the story and is not the major driver of productivity. So there is a need to rethink that policy in the context of Europe, which means much more room for region and country-specific approaches. Very often in Europe we come to the idea of a best practice in policy, and then it becomes common view that what is good for Germany is good for Greece or for any other country. We are now in the period where that is obviously not the case, and where there is a strong need for more country-specific policy approaches. So that's, in a nutshell, the basic idea.